What is good, y'all? Welcome to Let's Cap. I'm your host, Ronald Cabang from wagertalk.com and themoneyballer.com. Today's a big day, man. WNBA is back. Had a really good first part of the season prior to the Olympic break, and hopefully we just continue to cash those WNBA tickets. I think we're hitting up over 60% on the season. The last 50 plays, I think we're up at hitting over like almost 70%. So, I mean, everything recently has been going really well. Hopefully, we kind of just get back on track pretty easily here in the W. Yesterday, a few good spots in the MLB that we cashed. Obviously, not gonna win them all, but we talked about a lot of winners yesterday in the MLB, and not a huge slate today. The only game that I bet earlier was the Mariners first five and the full game, but that already kicked off. So we don't have a lot of baseball to talk about today, but we'll go through each one of the MLB games that we have in the afternoon, and then yeah, and then every game in the W today. And look who popped up. What up, Chris? I didn't think you were gonna make it.
What up? I hit you back. Told you I can make it like the first couple, probably like first 20 minutes.
Okay, yeah,
Nothing much to
perfect.
get to
Yeah,
the WNBA.
yeah. No, I just started. I was just doing a little intro, talking about how the W is back. Baseball yesterday. Me and Munaf broke it down pretty well. Got a lot of winners again. So hopefully we. I mean, the baseball. I know you haven't been touching baseball, but today's a small slate, and we only have like four games to talk about later. So, just kind of going through that. But yeah, man, WNBA is back. I know you did your first show after your much needed vacation. Been putting in work on your channel and everything too. So. Yeah, man, I'm super glad the W is back. Have you placed bets today or what?
Yeah, I placed one that I want to talk to you about and share with the audience, and then one that I want your opinion on as well. I'm pretty sure we probably align on it, but I'm just interested to get your thoughts on the one I placed. I think I know your thoughts on the one I placed, but also probably the lean, and then talk out the other game, see if we could potentially find another angle. Because I
Cool.
do want to put another bet in. Like you
Yeah,
don't want to
yeah,
put too many bets in, but
yeah,
you do want, like, I only got one locked in so far. So yeah,
no,
I'm excited to be on the show and
yeah.
appreciate you
Let's
sending me
let's
the
get
sending me
into
the
it,
link.
man. I'm hella excited too, bro. Like I've been waiting for this for a whole ass month, dude. I've been
Yeah.
trying to go through that. I mean,
Feel
I
like
was I
Christmas,
was
right?
hella sad because I knew I had to like start betting MLB again, but MLB has been really nice too, so I can't
Nice.
even complain. I'll probably even continue betting MLB as I do WNBA, but just not as much volume.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into it. So Washington Mystics, Minnesota Lynx. I'll share my screen right here. So themoneyballer.com. Go to the WNBA page. So we're seeing Lynx, 8.5 point favorites here at home. A little bit of in season revenge for the Mystics. Obviously, everyone coming back um, from the Olympic break. Just to go over real quick the injury stuff too. So going to underdog, the big news, right? Shakira Austin and Brittany Sykes both back, and both are huge on the defensive side of the ball here. So I'm expecting um, two things, right? Obviously, defense to shore up for this Mystic squad, but also if you look at the Lynx, right? You see this projected lineup here. These three here played in the Olympics and played heavy roles for their team as well. And then obviously they're coming back in just a few days ago. So I'm expecting somewhat of a letdown, especially like early on in the game. So if you go back to the moneybar.com and we look at, and this is me and you, Chris, because we've been doing WNBA for a while, we don't even have to look at this and understand the spot that we're in right now with the Mystics, right? So
Mystic first half.
Mystics first half. So if you look at Mystics first half, obviously from a straight up perspective, right, you're seeing 12, 10, and 3, Lynx 14, 9, and 3. But when you start to look at it from a spread perspective, Mystics first half prior to the Olympic break, 17, 6, and 2 against the spread in the first half. Even the full game, they're pretty solid right there. And then as Road Dogs specifically, 9, 3, and 1 in the first half, 9 and 4 on the full game. And then you look towards the Lynx side, first half as home favorites. This is a spot that they really struggle, 3, 7, and 1 ATS. And if you start to look at the team totals specifically, right here, their offense tends to struggle. Now you compound that with the fact that you're getting these three top players, three of their top players coming back from the Olympics, maybe some jet lag or whatever it might be, fatigue. I could really see them struggling offensively here. So I can't really talk anyone off of the Mystics first half or the full game. I know the line has come down to I think even 8 at some places, I believe. But that would be the only way that I could look here from a stat perspective. You can see here the Lynx defense has been really solid. Mystics, I mean, it's really hard to take these numbers into play with Shakira Austin and
Brittany
Brittany
Sykes.
Sykes. Yeah. But yeah, so I will leave these stats off for now, but I want you to go through your breakdown of this game, and then I'm gonna pull up a different page that I wanted to show you guys regarding Sykes and Austin.
Yeah, very, very similar to your thought process, RC, I call you,
Sorry.
for Washington, the thing that I think that you didn't mention, RC, is Jay Melbourne. I don't think she's going to be that big of an impact player with Brittany
Australia.
Sykes being back, but she did play for on the Olympic team, represent her country. And then Julie Vonloo, I saw that Julie actually was going to meet the Mystics in Minnesota today. RC, she's supposed to be landing. I'm pretty sure she's probably already there now. But I saw that like she didn't fly back to DC at
Yeah.
all. She was just supposed to meet them there. And also the I guess the hesitation would be how much do we see Brittany Sykes? I think when we think about Mike Tibbetts and him being the head coach of the Washington Mystics, he's been very reluctant, like and very cautious with both Brittany Sykes and Shakira Austin and
Yeah.
trying to kind of ramp their minutes back up. Brittany Sykes hasn't played basketball in 2 months and 4 days. She got injured on June the 11th. And I was,
Mhm.
going through listening to the beat reporter, trying to find, just little tidbits. And it does sound like she's going to be on a minutes restriction, which I probably expect. But I do think that, the number being so big,
Mhm.
I'm right there with you, I think the other thing I want to mention just really quickly is that um, outside of those three Olympic players, like you said, for Minnesota being there, and not only did they play in the Olympics, RC, we got to mention they went deep, and we
Yeah.
didn't even get to Cheryl Reeves either, right? Cheryl Reeves being there, all three, Elena Smith, like all of those, players. But also there's this, RC, it's the idea that um, the lineup for the Mystics, if you put Shakira Austin in at the 5 and you move Stephanie Dawson to the 4,
Mhm.
and then you also have Brittany Sykes, you got Shakira, you got Carly Samuelson and Ariel Atkins in. I
Yeah.
do think that lineup is a lot better than what we see them
It's
on
a
paper as.
huge difference,
Yeah.
dude. Even so, you mentioned Van Loo, man, Von Lou, man. I remember where, yeah, Von Lou.
Mhm.
Um, the other thing to mention with her though is her offense is really solid, but her defense sucks. Like it's pretty bad. She gets eaten up. Like I would compare her to like Peyton Pritchard or something like that, right? Like just barbecue chicken, right, on defense. So having Sykes back, even though on a minutes restriction, is still going to help on the defensive side of the ball. But at the same time, her coming off of the bench, whether or not she has, that jet lag or whatever it might be, I think will still be really solid. Also, I mean, that lineup right there, just that starting lineup, if all healthy throughout the season, they definitely wouldn't be where they're at right now. 100%. And just the same thing like with the Wings. If they had Satu Sabali and all these other folks who to stay healthy, they would be a whole different level as well. So I really like this Mystics team, especially towards the second half of the part of the season. But yeah, I would only look towards the Mystics side, and I would actually I didn't get a chance to do this, but the line moved. I think the line moved. Where's it at? I actually still might get there. I mean, because it went from 10.5 to 8.5, and their team total went down a couple of points. But I kind of want to focus in on the Lynx team total under specifically for the reasons that I talked about earlier, the jet lag plus the defense coming back for Washington. Any other thoughts on this one?
No, I think we did a pretty good job. I see who was it in the chat? GB says Shakira Austin over 6.5 rebounds. I think Minnesota, outside of Nafisha Collier, they can struggle with rebounding the basketball. I see. I know going into the break, they were what was it? I got it in my notes. They were 2 and they had covered 2 of their last 9 games after beating the Liberty in the Commissioner Cup, and a lot of that, was because Fee didn't play. Now, of course, her being out there is, she's a much better rebounder. The only
Yeah.
hesitation I get with that comment is, like I said, the minutes limit, right? Like I'm not sure if Shakira is going to be on the minutes limit, but I would tend to think that she probably would, just because this is going to be her first game back in quite some
Yeah.
time, and that would kind of scare me off. But I don't think it's necessarily a bad look if we're expecting them to, play their defense to be a little bit better, specifically in
Mhm.
the second half, because we know what the Mystics can do in the first half. If not,
Yeah.
win the half outright, at least cover the spread.
Even that though, like if you look at the Lynx offensive rebounding percentage allowed towards the bottom of the league. So and these numbers are without Shakira Austin, right? So and she's one of the better, more athletic bigs in the league too. So I would assume, I mean, I don't have the numbers to back it specifically for just her, but I would assume she'd be able to get some offensive boards in this one. Especially if we're thinking that both defenses show up today, we're gonna get a lot of missed shots, right? So rebounds should be had today for somebody. And I mean, in my opinion, it should be Shakira Austin.
Yeah. All right, see,
Uh,
real quick before you
mhm.
move on, this was the one that I was kind of wanting your thoughts on, because it was definitely Washington or nothing for me.
Yeah,
I didn't get there, and I know that the number moved from 10.5 to 8.5 when the news came out that Shakira Austin and Brittany Sykes were both going to be available for the game.
yeah,
But I do think that makes a lot of sense, and I probably will still get there. I'll probably add it, maybe not as big of a play, but I,
yeah.
I do like Washington. I'm probably gonna add them.
Yeah, I took the full game because I didn't have the first half available because where I'm at, I don't have a lot of options. But today the one first half did come available. I'm gonna see if I can get a five or not because I was watching a ski show and they said a five popped up, and if I see a five, I'm probably gonna take it. That first half, in my opinion. So I'll probably add the first half if that's the case. Um, let's move on to the next one. I think I watched your show earlier, so I know you're on this game. This is the one that I kind of I ended up staying off of, but I probably will end up adding. All right, so we got the Mercury at the Sky. A slight home dogs here. I think it's at 2 now, if I'm not mistaken. I think it came down to 2. We do have a baller system on them, but obviously coming off of the Olympic break, it's kind of funky to take that because it says off of a win. Um, if we look at the historical matchup here, Chicago did beat them earlier, right before the break here on July 30th. Um, but then Phoenix had them in the prior couple games. So I mean, in the prior game, if we look at the home road splits, is where I think things kind of shift, right? So on the season, home road splits, you can see Mercury's offense and defense towards the bottom of the league. But a lot of that had to do with BG not being in the lineup for quite a bit, right? So if you look at the last five, look at their offensive numbers shift, right, to first. And that was the thing that kind of kept me off this game specifically, is the home road splits after BG got back. And then if you go to give me the dog equals and road favorite. Oh, where am I? Oh, as road favorites, 4-0 straight up, 4-0 against the spread, 3-1 to the over. And these right here were after BG got back. And you can see how much better their offense and their team in general is in that case. Because right before that, as a dog, they were struggling 1-8 straight up, 3-6 ATS, and now majority of those were without BG. But I mean, to me, BG, Clear DT, they were all in Paris too, right? So that's one thing to think about too, is potential letdown from that. And then on the opposite side, I don't think anyone from the Sky went, right. No international players for the Sky, so that's another thing that would point towards the Sky here. From a trends perspective, this is the part that kind of kept me off, is the Sky 1-7 as home dogs. Obviously, it's going to be a little bit different with their roster makeup now, right? Mabry's gone. We have Banham on the lineup. We have Jefferson in the lineup as well. And then you have Mercury here, like what I just showed, as as road favorites, 4-0 straight up against the spread. Sorry, 4-0 against the spread there. From a total perspective, kind of. kind of balance, like they cancel each other out on the team total and the over under full game. But here's one thing that I did want to show here was Mercury um, on the first leg of back to back games, and we do have that on the Money Baller too. Sorry. 0-2 straight up, 0-2 ATS on the first leg of back to back games. But if you look at the numbers here, obviously the Sun are a different team, right? Compared to the Sky. 47 points there, scored there, 82 points scored here. They went under their team total in both of those games. They lost both games outright, both games to the under. And they do have the Fever tomorrow. So this is an interesting spot to kind of look into these numbers and stats and say, well, what's going to happen in this situation? As road favorites, they've been good, but on the first leg of back to back, they've struggled. But I know you're on one side, and I want you to talk me into it because I really want to take this bet. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing that jumped out to me, RC, kind of going back to what you were mentioning in the last game, is how much Olympic participants we had on one side of the ball in this one. Chicago literally has nobody. They've been, not even their coach, Teresa Weatherspoon, has been with the team, trying to figure out some chemistry and some camaraderie after they made the trade from they sent Marina Mabry to Connecticut. You got Rachel Branham, who hopefully has a pretty big impact and can, stretch the floor. Mm-hmm. But I also like Michelle Onyenwere a lot. She's going to slide into the rotation to replace Marina Mabry. She's a big, forward who is pretty versatile. I think Coach Teresa Weatherspoon thinks a lot of her. If you go back and look at like her last 5 or 6 or so games before the All-Star break, she was already seeing increased minutes as well. So I like that it's her starting in. Yeah. I think that brings some more defense to this team, which is always where Coach Teresa Weatherspoon kind of hangs her hat. I do think that Youcapper on the opposite side, I do think that she's going to be fired up. We got to remember this is her game coming back to Chicago. Mm-hmm. But I see a letdown a little bit because this Phoenix team not only has Youcapper returning and Brittany Griner, but also Diana Taurasi, right? Yeah. Diana Taurasi's point prop, RC, which I'll talk about a little bit more in a second, is at like 15.5. And she's actually 8-3 to the under in road games. And that's not even including since BG's come back. Yeah. She's under a lot more than that. So I think with Phoenix having three stars that played on that Olympic team, also Phoenix having Rebecca Allen. We didn't even mention her. She's not going to play in this game. She's not with a hamstring. That's potentially 4 players on, impacted there, RC. Rebecca Allen, in my opinion, is a huge asset to this team. When you think about Sophie Cunningham coming in after her to back her up, and she'll be in the slide into the starting rotation. She's not as good of a defender, and that's the other key piece. Phoenix's defense has not been that great. For them to have, the pieces that they have with a Brittany Griner out there, defensively they've really, really struggled, and I can kind of see that, here as well. I know Chicago struggles offensively, specifically at home. And one thing that that gave me a slight hesitation here, RC, is that when I looked at the Phoenix Mercury on the road, when they were favorites, they're 4-0 straight up and against the spread so far this season. However, when I looked a little deeper and I looked into who they had played against in those games, that's where I said, you know what, I can still take them and I'll be okay in this position, even if they lose the game. So those 4 wins that they have as a road favorite so far actually came against the Washington Mystics. That was the game that I went to. They also beat the Dallas Wings, and then they beat the Sparks.
They beat the Wings twice. Yeah,
beat the Wings twice in the Sparks. So the 3 teams on there, RC, are teams that's outside of the playoffs, right? So that gave me a little more reassurance to like Chicago in this spot. The Mercury have been a lot better at home than they've been on the road. If you just look at the Mercury straight up, RC, at home versus on the road. Like if you go in, and I think they're 5-8 straight up on the road. Whereas at home, I think they're like 8-4. So this is a team that performs a lot better at home. And I think the last point I'll make is that you mentioned the Mercury having to play tomorrow against the Indiana Fever. The Indiana Fever have beaten the Mercury twice and I think they were dogs in both games.
Yeah.
So I think that they may have that one circled a little bit more. With the Indiana Fever, there's always a lot of notoriety and publicity. I don't know if you got a chance to see that graphic that got put out, but the Indiana Fever are just, I mean, they're doing things that the NBA and the NFL aren't even doing with their viewership. So when you think about that, you kind of probably want to save some for that game tomorrow, and
Hmm.
they may potentially have that one circled a little bit more outside of Youcapper, who I do think is going to get up for this game. But I think that they could potentially want to save some for tomorrow against the Indiana Fever team that's red hot, and all eyes are going to be on that game because Caitlin Clark is playing.
Yeah, makes sense. They even announced Indiana for the All-Star game next
For
season.
next year, yeah.
Yeah, man. I think Sky is the play there. It makes sense to me. I haven't taken it yet, but I think I'm gonna get there. A lot of things that you mentioned make sense. The Rebecca Allen too. I did forget to mention that, but she is that glue player that does a lot of the little things for this team. If you look at the stat perspective, I mean, with BG back, they still struggle on the rebounds, both offensive and defensive, and that's one of the key things that the Sky do themselves, right? Obviously, Angel Reese, one of the big reasons why, but Cardosa has the length to really make an impact against BG too, right? As long as she don't get in foul trouble. So defensively, rebounds, all that stuff, it makes a lot of sense. And if you go back to the last 10 games when BG came back, look at that defensive rating for this Mercury team. And I think you might have touched it a little bit, but you can't back a team as a favorite when they have a defense that bad. So
Especially when they're on the road and they already are underwhelming on the road. I think, like I said, they're 5-8 straight up on the road.
yeah,
So yeah, I like Chicago. If I want Chicago, I typically want them as a dog. I know you catch the big play with them on the road as a dog, and for
yeah,
whatever reason, they tend to play worse at home. I know right before the break they lost to the Liberty at home.
yeah,
That was the game that Kennedy Carter ended up getting benched and not playing that many minutes. And then they
yeah,
go to LA. They're 12-point dogs. I think it came down 12-13. They win the game by 12 or 13. So, we know what this team is capable of.
mhm,
And also, they're going to be jockeying for position, I think, with the Indiana Fever for the last few playoff spots between those two teams. So,
yeah.
yeah, I like Chicago here. I just don't want to lay points with Phoenix on the road, especially with three Olympic players coming off that break and then not having the glue services like you mentioned of Rebecca Allen. So
Yeah,
I did take Chicago plus 3.5.
I like it. You still think it's good at +2? You think
I think that they can
I
win
feel
the
like
game.
they win outright
They
if
win
that's
the
the
game
case,
outright
right?
too.
Yeah,
Yeah. If I take it at plus 3.5, I definitely think they got a chance to win
yeah,
outright.
for
And
sure.
last thing I'll mention, I was watching. I went back and looked at some post game interview stuff and some practice stuff, looking at the beat writers. And one thing I really really like, Coach Teresa Weatherspoon was being very intentional with her team about shot selection and shot quality late in the shot clock, because we
Yeah,
know Chicago. And we think that they're going to struggle. We're thinking it's going to be offensively, especially without Marina Mabrey to spread the floor. So they
yeah,
were doing drills yesterday and the day before yesterday, kind of working on offense with less than 8 shots left in the shot clock. Like, so
mhm,
she's being intentional about, she knows that they're the worst team in that, category. So like,
yeah, yeah,
let's beef that up. So and of course I love Teresa Weatherspoon and how she coaches, because she's a player's coach. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I like it. I think Chicago is going to be rocking tonight, and I took the Sky plus 3.5.
Yeah, and she's, to be honest, like what you just mentioned, that last part before we move to the next game, she's even a mentor to NBA players. Like Zion looks up to her. She's someone that Zion goes and calls like almost every game, right? So, she's she's definitely a player's coach. All right, let's move on to this last one here. Liberty and Sparks. Let's go to this here. All right, Sparks here, heavy home dogs, 11 and a half. Points here, we do have a double digit in season revenge and a baller system that backs the under here. Historical matchups, we got Liberty by 10 in this one, Liberty by 13 here. I think they actually, but Sparks covered both games because of how big the numbers were.
Sparks covered 6 in a row, I see, and 8 of the last 10 between the two teams because, like you said, how big the numbers always are.
Yeah, no, I believe it. So if we go to, let's actually go to the straight up and ATS stuff. So straight up here, Liberty, obviously they're one of the best teams in the league, 21-5, 6-8 for the Sparks. From a ATS perspective, nothing that pops out too much, but for the most part, Liberty as road favorites, 7-4. This is like pretty much a split here as home dogs. If you look at over unders for Liberty that pop out here in that first half, 8-3 to the under, 5-3-1 to the under for the Sparks. Team total split pretty much, and then Liberty opponents under, so they play defense as road dogs and the road favorites in this situation. But when we start to dive into the double digit numbers, right? Obviously this is going to be a heavy number. Double digit dogs. Sparks are 8-2 ATS. The Liberty 1-11 ATS. And if you go to Sparks and line double digit dogs here, right? You see that 2-8 straight up, 8-2 ATS, 8-2 to the over, and they're going over their team total by a huge margin for the most part. And the ones that they did stay under went under by a single bucket, half point there, 1.5 right there. So multiple ways to look at this, in my opinion, just based off of the situation. Sparks ATS or Sparks team total over. The team total is at 76. They're averaging 83 here. They only went under 76 points once, right? Right there against the Sun. And we know the Sun's one of the best defensive teams in the league. And if we go to the other side, right? Liberty. Wrong way. Double digit favorites, 10-2 straight up. They're winning these games, just not by margin. 1-11 ATS. Also 8-4 to the over, allowing 79.3 per game. And if you look here, what is it, 76, right? So only 3 games here where they allowed under 76 points. So that backs, the Sparks here. That backs the team total over for the Sparks. Going to the injuries, there are some concerns from this point because they're guards, right? Ari McDonald was playing pretty well. She's out. Lexi Brown out. Obviously Brink has been out for a bit. Stephanie Talbot was out. She actually played. Didn't she play in the Olympics too?
She did. She did play. Her. I was gonna mention that. Her, Dearica Hamby played in the 3-on-3. Ruth also played for China as well.
China, yeah, Lee Ruth. Yeah. But I think Azurá Stevens has been a huge impacts coming back from her injury.
She's second on the team in points per game already, right behind Dearica Hamby at 14.8.
Yeah, not only even points, dude, but look at her stocks, steals and blocks and rebounds. Like she's killing it in every aspect for this team. And that's the reason why I think a lot of people are taking Hamby's unders, because Azurá is taking a lot of that stuff from her. And then Jackson, I feel like Jackson is gonna come back in the second part of the season a little bit stronger offensively, because she showed a lot of promise on the offensive side of the ball in the beginning part of the season, but I think they really relied on Hamby for the most part. But I think if they give her a chance, I've seen her do step backs. She plays sort of like, I want to say Ryan Howard a little bit, but yeah, I think that she got a little bit of that in her. So if they give her an opportunity, I think offense will come from her in the second part of the season. And obviously on the Liberty side, more people coming from Paris, right? Ionescu, Fibic, and Stewart, both, they all played heavy minutes for their squad as well. And then Sabali too. Naira Sabali, she played heavy minutes for her squad too. So they're going to be missing some pieces. I mean, not missing some pieces, but potential fatigue and all that stuff from their players.
Sandy Mandello too. She was the coach.
Yeah, she coached out there too for Canada, right?
Australia. Okay, was it Canada?
Shit, I already forgot.
She's Australian, I think. She's Australian.
Yeah. So from that point, I just got to look towards the Sparks here, full game, and maybe the Sparks team total over. Any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, the only thing that holds me up, and I agree. I think I would be about 65, 50, 65, 35 on over versus under. But that double season, in-season double revenge really just kind of jumps out to me, because the Liberty numbers are always so inflated. We know that they can score the basketball, right? But their defense has been so good recently. That's what really, these are two teams that play, total opposite style of basketball. So, when I think about the Liberty being such a good defensive team, it's one of the reasons why they're the best, team in the WNBA right now, 21-5. it's them being able to kind of hang their hats on the defensive end. I think they're number 2 in defense going into the All-Star break in the last 5 games. And then on the full season, I think they're number 3 in defense. And, when we see them go under, it's typically because they're not making shots offensively. But do we think the Sparks are going to be able to slow them down now that Azare Stevens is back? You got De'Erica Hamby out there. We know what the Liberty like to do. They like to get up and down the court, shoot a bunch of threes, and they can lose outright. We saw them lose outright in Indiana to the Fever, and that game was a game that went under. So that all of those things kind of, are super conflicting. I really wanted to bet the under. I think the totals come down enough to me not want to touch it anymore. I think it opened like 168. Now it's down to like 163 and a half, I want to say I saw. Yeah. So those things kind of scare me just a tad bit. I don't know if it's going to happen in the first game because they've had such a long time off, but only having 9 players. I think Kurt Miller said yesterday, RC, they only going to have 9 players dressed for this game.
Yeah, because Laney's out, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So if that is the case, then that, I don't know, it scares me a tad bit as well. I do think it's Sparks or nothing, though. I'll say that. Like, I'll probably play the Sparks plus the points before I took the team total over, even though a lot of the points that you made sounds like they should, like pretty easily clear that team total going over because the Liberty, just have the ability to get really hot or be really, really cold. So, yeah, I think I like the points a little bit more than anything else. And I do like that De'Erica Hamby under just because of, Azare. Also, you're going against Jocko Jones. They got Breanna Stewart out there. Like, this is a pretty good defensive team. And when I think about the Liberty giving it up, RC, I typically think about it at the point guard position because you got, Vandersloot out there that you can take advantage of with her being in the later part of her career. So I do kind of like the angle with De'Erica Hamby going under. I think her points, rebounds, and assists was listed at like 31.5. Somebody said on my show earlier, but I didn't bet it.
I like it. All right, so I think we kind of agree there. All right, that's the 3 games today. We got games tomorrow. I don't know if you'll be available tomorrow, Chris, but you're always on. You're always invited to the show to do WNBA for sure. But yeah, before we move to MLB, I want you to go ahead and talk about. I know you got a daily show and all the stuff that you got going on. You're working on a whole bunch of stuff, so let the people know what's going on.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Appreciate you having me on as always. I'll see if I can slide back through tomorrow. Hopefully, I can. For today, just Chicago plus the 3.5 so far is the only thing that I've played. Strong look towards Washington plus the 8.5. I do like, and if you can get the Sparks plus 11.5, I do think that that's a really good look as well. Also, we got to remember, RC, we haven't bet WNBA in a while, but there's a bunch of live betting opportunities as well. Yeah. They still present themselves. So, if it's a strong look and, Sparks go down, 10-0 or something like that, if we can get a plus 17 or plus 16, absolutely, those are looks that you want to take as well. But those are the looks. As far as what I got going on, like RC said, daily show in the morning time, back on the grind, 7:15, 8:15 a.m., 5:15 RC time over on the West Coast. Yeah. We're trying to get to the lines early. We're trying to, give out plays, give out winners, and just share information that's going to help us to be profitable sports bettors. So again, appreciate you having me on, RC. I'll be back tomorrow. Also doing some NFL content as well. I'm about to start breaking down the NFL divisions, which has been pretty fun. So I'll start putting out that content here soon as well. And like I said, I appreciate you having me on, man. Best of luck tonight to you and to everybody in the chat as well.
All right, bro. Thanks.
Absolutely. All right, bro.
What up, Munaf? Are you on mute, bro?
There we go, man. What's going on?
Chilling. Only not a lot going on today for baseball, right? We only got 4 games to talk about because all the other ones kicked off already.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, Thursday's 4. Usually a little slower because I guess for scheduling purposes.
Yeah,
but yeah, 4 games left. Got one kicking off in about an hour or so.
Yeah, so we can. How was your day yesterday?
Yesterday was okay. I think I broke even or lost a little bit of juice. The Dodgers one hurt a little bit. I just took the full game over 9. It pushed. I had the Dodgers team total over 4.5. They scored 3 in the first inning and only got 1 after that. That sucked a little bit. And then we talked about the Astros. I mean, the under and the first 5 innings. But the Astros continues cashing, man. So
yeah,
wasn't too bad of a day, but could have been better. But not going to be too mad over how we've been breaking down, honestly.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think we've been doing a really good job on these games here. Yesterday, over at Wager Talk, I only ended up giving them out one play, but I was talking to you, and I ended up personally betting all the ones that we talked about on the show. So ended up on the profitable side. So it's tough to be on this side of the the I guess tout business or whatever you want to call it, but because you want to balance like volume and quality and all that stuff. But
absolutely,
I mean, these shows help a lot, right? Because I think what you talked about on one of your tweets was like it's good to go down do these types of shows, break them down the way that we do, because we get to see things that we may have missed in our earlier handicap. So by the time the show is done, it's kind of too late to give it out to clients, because then they can't get their bets in. And so let's actually get into the slate for today. We'll just go through every one of these 4 games that we have going up. First one is let me share my screen. Go to MLB. I think Braves and Giants is the first one.
Yeah.
Braves, Giants. There it is. Okay. Braves, Giants. We got Fried and Webb here. Slight edge to the Braves on the rating system. Schedule wise, so this is the last game of the series here. The Braves, man, they going for the sweep here. So we can actually look to see if the Giants have. Do you know if the Giants have been swept before this series in the season?
I'm not sure. I haven't looked at that.
We could look at that. So Fried, last 5 starts, got hit up here against the Rockies in Colorado though. So went against Hudson, 4 earned run given up, a home run there, 7 hits. He's been having some control issues, 3 walks average in the last 5 starts there. Webb, pretty strong the last 3. Does have some control issues too, but has gotten a little bit better. Went 7 innings in this one, pretty far. Typically, so he did. Even after this complete game, he actually pitched well against Washington.
Yeah.
So he's been having pretty good matchups, I think. If we look at from a split by starter, 13-7 straight up here that pops out. But as road dogs, obviously it doesn't happen often. 1-0 straight up and on the full game. Webb, home favorites, 7-3 on the full game. If we look at totals, unders for Max Fried here. Unders as home favorites unders as home favorites here, 4-6 to the under. Split by team versus right and left. So Giants versus lefties, not that great. 16-24 on the season, but as home favorites, 8-4-1 in the first 5, 7-6 in the full game. Braves versus right-handed pitchers, not great either. Road dog, 5-9 straight up there. Totals, unders on the full game versus right-handed pitchers, definitely there. 51, 28, and 4 to the under full game. 9-5 as road dog specifically. So last 30 days, 2-0 straight up, full game first 5 for Logan Webb as home favorites. Unders for Logan Webb versus righties still continue to struggle. Somehow they're 3-1 in the first 5 though, as road dogs specifically. 2-1 here as home favorites, nothing significant there versus left-handed pitchers. First 5 for Braves, first 13-5-1 to the over, but it kind of bounces out here in the totals for the left-handed pitchers in the last 30. Batting perspective, 4.6 runs per game for the Braves, 4.2 for the Giants. Both teams striking out at a really high rate here. Max Fried, definitely a strikeout pitcher, 16.2 Ks per 9. And Braves, from a run perspective, they're really relying on the home runs, dude. 50 home runs in the last 25 games. And Webb does not give up home runs at all. He's a ground ball. Both guys are ground ball pitchers, but that's an interesting stat right there, because if they don't hit home runs, they're kind of struggling to. They would probably be struggling to put up runs. Definitely some positive regression from Max Fried here. Only 2 starts in the last 30 days though. Logan Webb has been pretty solid. but we talked about control issues. Oh, actually, that was with Max Fried. Bullpen edge to the Braves here slightly. They do have positive regression here, but Giants' last 30 days have been pretty solid. I actually probably think it's more even than edge to the Braves. The only thing is they are giving up home runs. So if Webb doesn't go far, I think the Braves can probably get to this bullpen. I mean, initial thoughts here is I don't know where to go with this one. This one, I mean, a lot of things are kind of countering each other, in my opinion.
Yeah, this one. I mean, even you look at the line, RC. It's -110 both ways on this on the money line.
Gotcha. That's probably why I can't figure it out because I mean, I'm with the books here. I don't. It's an even matchup to me.
Yeah, maybe an under. I don't know, man. You mentioned like yesterday. If you what was I think the final score? They scored 5 in the first inning, but it was off of a grand slam by Michael Harris.
Yeah.
That was his first game back as well, with Robbie Ray pitching for the Giants. But I mean, like you mentioned, it's a lot of it stuff that's like canceling each other out. I think it could turn into a good pitching matchup. If this was a 7.5 on the total, I would probably look at the under. But it's at 7 right now, and it could probably end up as a 4-3 final. Worst case, you end up pushing. But I was initially leaning Giants. Logan Webb at home hasn't been a profitable angle, but also Max Fried has been really good on the road this season, so that canceled each other out as well. But I just feel like this might just turn into a little bit of a pitcher's duel here today, so I would lean towards the under.
Would you key in on the first 5 under? Because I think that would be the way to go here, especially. So one thing that I talked about with the Braves offense is they really rely on power, right? If they're hitting, their runs are coming from the home runs.
Right.
Webb doesn't give up home runs. That means first 5, they probably will struggle to score. Once they get to the Giants bullpen, they might be able to get the home runs there, right? So maybe if we do take the under, it would be that first 5 under. And that would be the opposite of what happened yesterday, obviously. But and then you see Max Fried here with a ton of positive regression over his last couple starts.
Do you see Logan Webb first 5 innings starts at home? What the first 5 like score or the over under has been?
You said at home?
Yeah, at home.
6-4-1, 6-4-1 to the under. Opponents 1.36 runs, so under a 1.5. But that would probably be juiced at this number, right? 7.
Yeah, it's excuse me, 3.5. First 5 overs juiced a little bit at -115-ish, and the full game's at 7.
If you look at look at this road, they're averaging what is this? Under 7 runs per game. If you take out this game right here, for the most part, opponents are really struggling to score on them.
Yeah.
When Webb starts on the road, over 3.5 in just 3 of the 11 games. So maybe one other way to look at it would be the Braves team total under specifically, right?
Yeah. I wouldn't be opposed to the under 3.5. It could be something similar to what we saw earlier in the week between Chris Sale and Blake Snell. I mean, that was absolutely pitcher's duel.
Yeah.
I think they were scoreless 2-5 as well. So I would under. I think those first 5 angles have been really, really good to us this past couple of weeks. RC, man, I would probably go under 3.5 in the first 5 innings.
So they have been swept twice already in a 4-game series. So that's interesting.
But they're not even look at that first 5. They're not even scoring much.
Yeah, but their opponent. But this is different. I mean, like I think a lot
that
of it
probably has to do with
the starting pitchers. Series games equals 4. Oh, last game of the series. My bad. Hold on.
4-1-1 to the over.
And hold on. P. There you go. All right. So just one in the 4-game series, and they lost it. And they had Mason Black versus Wheeler. Well, the Phillies, yeah. makes sense then. If we go 3-game series, yeah, they've been swept a few times here. So, I mean, one angle that we took yesterday with the Cubs, they ended up losing, was not getting swept. They got swept for the first time all season. But yeah, that doesn't come into play here. So I don't know. This one's tough. Maybe if I was to bet it, it would probably be the Braves team total under, probably.
Yeah.
Or just the under in general.
Yeah. I feel like it'll be a low scoring game.
3-0 today so far with the baller. With the ball. Are you talking about? Oh, Mickey. Okay, yeah. I know you're a Baller Access member. Okay, dope, man. Good stuff, man. We got to figure out how you're using the site because you've been cashing it a lot lately. All right, let's move on to the next game.
Yep.
Was it Boston, Baltimore? This was the first game of the series, right? So we have Pivetta and Eflin here. Our rating system is even. Red Sox coming off an extra inning game. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Against the Rangers yesterday.
Damn, they were up early too.
They were up like
early in the game.
I want to say like 7-4 or something like that, and then the Rangers came all the way back.
Yeah. All right. So Pivetta last 5 starts here, coming off a decent one. Only 4 2/3 innings, but just 2 earned runs given up. But both home runs. 3 straight games with 2 home runs given up in each one of them. And then we go to Eflin. Strong start here, 7 innings pitched. I mean, he's been pretty consistent since coming back. I mean, obviously he gave up a home run in each one of these, but I mean, K's is up there. He's already pitching 6+ innings in each one of his starts. So let's look at full season trends. So 13-9 straight up, 10-8 here. Wait. Eflin got traded. That's why
Eflin was with the Rays, and then I think he's made a couple starts with Baltimore already.
Yeah, so these are only his starts for Baltimore. That's why it confused me. Okay, got it. Home favorites: 5-2-1, 5-3. That includes his previous team there. 3-1-1 in the first 5 for Pivetta. Unders for Eflin as home favorites. Nothing significant there. Orioles first 5, definitely a spot. 26-12-4. But Red Sox first 5 have been really strong too.
Yeah.
Both as a overall and a road dog, 13-7-6. Full game profitable as well, 16-10. As road dogs, home favorites, 26-16. Man, that's tough. All right, so then we look towards the totals. Overs on the Orioles side. 53-30-7 to the over in the full game. As home favorites, also 60%ish, 24-16-2. Last 30 days, overs again. Overs. So Red Sox 12-3-1 to the over versus right-handed pitchers last 30 days. Orioles versus right-handed pitchers 18-3 to the over there. Home favorites 7-1. I mean, how you not take? I would only look in that direction. I mean, even the starters kind of point towards the over. All right, batting matchup. Both offenses going really strong right now. 6.2 runs per game for the Red Sox, 5.4 for the Orioles. Not only power, but they're even got the Red Sox got everything going on right now on the offensive side of the ball. They are striking out at a higher rate than the Orioles, though. Pitching matchup. Some positive regression for Pivetta. Eflin has been really strong this season overall, and he's pretty consistent with his numbers right here. Pivetta giving up home runs at a really high rate is an issue.
Yep.
And then if we look at the bullpen, dang, Red Sox bullpen is crazy. They even so that goes to show, like yesterday, the Rangers were definitely not out of it after they get to the bullpen. Positive regression here for the Orioles bullpen. Man, as good as this Red Sox offense has been, it seems like the starting pitcher and bullpen goes to the Orioles here. But at the same time, I still think over might be the way to go, right? I mean, the trend is really pointing that direction. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I think it'll be over for me as well. I think some of the trends that you had on Moneyballer here
Yeah.
pointed to a lot of the trends to go over, especially since the All-Star break. I want to say the Red Sox are one of the more profitable teams towards the over since the All-Star break. So Nick Pivetta has been a guy, he's been better at on the road, but I still don't trust the man. He gives up the home runs. Zach Eflin's a guy that I don't trust either. Offense for the Red Sox has been really, really good on the road as well. I think they continue raking. You mentioned the bullpen. I don't trust the bullpen for honestly either one of these teams. I would only look at the over in this game.
Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. 8.5. Let's see. Why did it just kick me out? All right.
I think Orioles have been one of the more profitable teams since the All-Star break as well, to the over.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, just looking at that one trend, the 18-3 to the over.
Yeah,
that's already crazy enough to not take. But 12-3-1 to the over for the Red Sox versus right-handed pitchers. So I just want to kind of look at the number for Pivetta on the road. So around 9 on average. So he gave so this one kind of skews his numbers a lot here
the
in
Rockies
Colorado.
start.
Yeah. Let me just not equal to Rockies. So we pull that Rockies on the road, and it goes down to 2.89. He's been okay on the road, but the Red Sox, even if Eflin has been pretty solid and the bullpen is pretty solid, they should be able to get some runs off of him. I still think over is the way to go. I know some of these numbers don't point in that direction, but I think the over.
Yeah, let me see if there's any weather in this game.
Orioles.
Oh, not much.
I want to get there with the over, but that road thing kind of is funky. Let's go with. Wait, did they? Orioles. Okay, right here. Okay, and first game of the series, 19-13-1 to the over. Overs. Let's do home favorite. 9-5 to the over. First 5, 10-3-1. 8, 9. I think they should be able to get over, even if one of these starters are probably going to give up a good chunk of runs.
Yeah, I mean,
and then the Red Sox bullpen for sure is probably going to give up runs.
Yeah, I want to say they used a lot of their guys yesterday too, because I know it was just a one extra inning, but
Red Sox Orioles over 8.5. All right. Okay, 2 more games here. Oh, sure. I keep forgetting to look at the chat. My bad, guys. So GB has a trend here. Red Sox. Team in Red Sox Orioles.
Also, RC, Red Sox first game of the series on the road, 12-6-1 to the over.
Nice. All right, so another thing that backs it. Let's just see after the break. I don't know if they use that here. All right, so since the All-Star break, the Red Sox and Orioles combined 38-10-1 to the over. And if we add versus right-handed pitchers, 36-1. Dude, that's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, just take. I feel like you just take it as long as they keep going over. All right, cool. I think that's a good one. Next one up. Washington and Philly. Washington and Philly. All right, so we got Nationals, Phillies, Parker versus Wheeler. Phillies with the edge here on the matchup rating, +3. First game of the series. They've been at home a couple games. Parker, last 5 starts here, pretty solid in the last 3. Fixed his controls. Well, it's the Angels. Okay, so the Angels, he did do well against the Brewers too. Wheeler, he's been pretty solid outside of this start against the Yankees. If we look at full season trends, first 5 for Wheeler here, 14-7-2, and as home favorite specifically 9-2. So that's a good spot there. Overs in the first 5 in their spots, 7-4 to the over as home favorites for Wheeler. Parker 7-2 to the over in the first 5 as road dogs. Nationals struggle in this first 5 here, 29-46-9 versus right-handed pitchers in the first 5, and then road dogs 12-20-5 there. What else pops out? Oh, this is interesting here. Full game unders versus left-handed pitchers, 14-6 as home favorites. So let's look at the last 30 days. Nothing really popping out here. I mean, they're both not really like, it's not like they're killing it or anything. All right, so we go to last 30 days on the splits. They haven't won versus a left-handed pitcher as a home favorite, either in the first 5 or the full game. There's not a lot. They don't see left-handed pitchers often at all, it seems like. Stats, Nationals, slight edge on the offensive side of the ball, 4.8 runs per game versus 4.3. They are hitting for average. They don't have a lot of power, though. Look at I think this might be the lowest barrel rate and hard hit rate in the league, or like close to the bottom. Not striking out a lot. From a starting pitcher perspective, both pretty decent. Maybe some slight room for negative regression for both of them, but overall pretty solid last 30 days. Bullpen, this is just an even matchup overall. Phillies, so their bullpen is giving up home runs at a really high rate, but Nationals offense, they don't have enough power to take advantage of that. Same thing with Wheeler. Higher home run per 9 rate, higher home run per fly ball rate, but no power on the Nationals side. Does strike out at a high rate. Phillies bullpen strikes out at a high rate. I mean, it would be Phillies for me, but not at this price is ridiculous.
Yeah, you would have to take it on the run line.
Yeah, that price is ridiculous. This shouldn't be a -270, or in my opinion, shouldn't. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, it was. I was looking at the Phillies side as well with Wheeler on the mound. On the run line, he's been pretty good to me this season. I know the last couple games haven't. It was against the Yankees where he got into trouble, but that was when the Yankees offense was, starting to turn it around.
Yeah.
But 4 straight games have gone over the total in Zach Wheeler's last 4 home starts. So I think he's getting like the run support as well. But it makes me nervous, like you mentioned, the left-handed pitching numbers there against for the Phillies. I'd lean to the run line -1.5. I think that Wheeler can go out and pitch well, but it's just, do I trust the offense enough to score for him? That's the only thing that's holding me back.
The thing is, so one thing that really pops out that we were just breaking down is the whole home run piece, right?
Yeah.
Wheeler gives up home runs, the bullpen gives up home runs, but Nationals can't hit home runs. So that's the only I mean, if they're gonna get on base but not get those guys in, they're gonna struggle to score. Outside, like you mentioned, outside of this Yankees game, look at all the rest of these other starts. Well, I got Marlins too, but 1-1, 2-2, 2-1. Opponents really struggling there. And then there actually is Nationals right here already versus Jake Irvin.
Yeah.
4-2. Actually, let's look at let's look at Wheeler when they're favored by 200 or more. First five. I think that run line that you mentioned, first five, makes hella sense.
Yeah.
That might be the way to go. Because they lost 3 games, but first 5, 9-1 straight up. Meaning not even just like push in the first 5, they actually won outright. So the minus half run makes sense.
He's been pretty good against the Nationals as well. I want to say
Historically?
I went back 3 seasons. Let's see here. It's only 3 games, but 3-0 straight up, 3-0 on the run line, 2-1 towards the over. 19-4 victory, 8-4 victory, and like you talked about that 4-2 one earlier this season.
Mm-hmm.
So his last 3 starts at least.
Man, that's pretty good. Nationals, that's juiced though, because even at minus 270, it should be pretty juiced, right? What is it? Oh, nice. The first 5 hit
For the run line?
Mariners. My bad. I was talking about I had the Mariners first 5.
No, you're good.
Spread first 5. Wait, minus 180 still in the first 5 run line?
180?
No, really?
Let's see. Let me see.
We're gonna need a minus
That
1.
can't be right. Yeah. Minus 180.
Damn, that's pricey, dude. Would you? All right, so let's look at. Hold on, let's find a different way, a different path. So even the under 1.5 first 5 is juiced to minus 150.
Damn, why the hell is it minus 180? Golly. Yeah, the money line's like minus 275 for the first 5.
Damn.
Would you just take a Nationals team total first 5 under then? 1.5.
Even that's juiced minus 140. Yeah. So the other thing too is 2.5. So I'm seeing 2.5 here. I'm assuming if it's 3.5, it'll be a plus money. Not plus money. Oh, wait, no. So plus money on 2.5 under. So what would
Full
the
game.
3.5 be? Fuck. I don't even think
under would be juiced, I think.
I don't even think they'll reach 3 runs, dude.
Yeah, that's what they have at 2.5. It just depends on how long Wheeler's going to be out there. He's usually good for about 6 minimum, 7.
Yeah.
Out there.
So average last 4 starts 6.5. So he gets pretty far.
Yeah.
But again, the Phillies bullpen, they're strong strikeout team, and it's the home run piece that I keep seeing that they give up home runs, but Nationals I don't think they're gonna hit any home runs against this team. And then there's positive regression as well. So man, these numbers are nasty. But
yeah, it's just way too juiced.
Yeah. If anything, I would look towards the Nationals team total under. I still think that they would stay. I think they only reach 2 max, but definitely not gonna. Yeah. I'm not gonna bet it, but that would be the only way that I look. All right, last game up. Let's do this one. Last game, Rangers, Twins, Rangers. All right, so we have Ober and Bradford, righty versus lefty. Slight edge to the Rangers here on the rating system. First game on the road after a lot of games at home. I mean, multiple series at home. First game at home for the Rangers. They're coming from Boston. That was that extra inning game too, right? Yeah. All right, so then we look at starters. And he's been pretty solid. Doesn't give up a lot of hits. Has given up 3 home runs in his last 5 starts. Goes pretty far. Man, he's been pretty good. And then Bradford, he's been solid too. I think this game didn't happen, so it ended up being here. Both of these starters been pretty good. Their last 5 starts. Let's look at full season trends. 5-0 straight up on the season for Bradford. 12-9 for overs for Bradford. So he's been getting a lot of run support in his games.
Mm-hmm.
Twins versus left-handed pitchers. Nothing too crazy, but have been profitable. 6-3-1 in the first 5 as road favorites. 6-4 in the full game. In that spot there. If we look at what's the line at? That's
It was like
that's not even
minus
that.
125 for the Twins.
Yeah, not too heavy. All right, so then we look at Rangers versus right-handed pitchers as home dogs, just 2-5 on that full game. Then first 5 overs, overs in general for the Twins. So their offense looks like they hit lefties pretty well on the season. 6-3-1 to the over as road favorites. 7-3 to the over. 5-1-1 in the first 5 as home dogs for the Rangers. Bats 4.9 runs per game for the Twins. 4.3 for the Rangers. I didn't change to 30. Hold on. Let me go back to 30. Okay, so there's that over in his last 4 to 5 starts. Been really strong there. To the under for the most part. Versus right-handed pitchers in the first 5, 5-13-2 overall, 0-1 as home dogs. Nothing significant here versus left-handed pitchers in the last 30. Still looking to it seems like overs here on the full game, 5-2-1, 14-5-1 versus right-handed pitchers. Bats, 5.1 runs per game versus 4.2 for the Rangers. Both kind of strong. They both got some power here. The only thing with them is they don't have the barrel rate to match that hard hit rate, but 33 home runs, 32 home runs, pretty solid. On average, the Twins hit better there. So slight average to the Twins, advantage to the Twins on the offense. Pitching matchup, over with the advantage here. And Bradford's been giving up home runs at a high rate. But we do see some positive regression on his side.
Mm-hmm.
Bullpen Twins, positive regression I can see here. Rangers bullpen kind of struggling for the most part. Man, the home run thing pops out to me again, and I know right there the 1.19 ISO, 33 home runs seems like a Twins team total over or something like that, because you can see here the overs paired with them losing. That's telling me they're giving up a whole bunch of runs in this spot here. Any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I think I was leaning towards over. Cody Bradford has been pretty good at home. He's actually undefeated, 4-0 straight up, 4-0 on the run line. They are 3-1 to the over in the appearances and starts he's made for the Rangers at home. 3 of the 4 games I've seen double-digit runs combined.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Cubs, the Astros, the Red Sox. And Twins have been a team that like you mentioned, they rely on the home run ball, right?
Yeah.
So I think it would probably be over for me. Again, you don't have a whole bunch of weather conditions in this game, so
Yeah.
obviously being in a dome. So yeah, I think over would be the look for me here. Was it 8?
8. Yep. 8.
Yeah.
Would you? Bradford's been. Over has been pitching really well. Do you think we key in on the Twins team total over, or do you think the Rangers could get some runs off of them too?
I think the Rangers could get some off of him too. I want to go back and look at his Bailey Ober's road starts because his ERA is slightly higher on the road, but I'm guessing it was probably just 1 or 2 starts where he got into trouble.
Gotcha. Yeah. 4.42 starters runs given up, 2.17 on average. Pitched well. He's been having some really good matchups though, because if you look at Tigers, White Sox, Mariners offense has been struggling. A's offense was good for a bit, but I think June? I don't think A's offense really picked up until after June, right?
Yeah, it was July where they were like the most profitable team in
Yeah, July.
the entire MLB, and
Yeah,
after
so
that,
the last four starts, I mean, he hasn't really faced anyone on the road. So I definitely could see the Rangers putting up runs here. Yeah, I think that over makes the most sense overall, not just the Twins team total, but
just full game over.
Yeah, full game over. Yeah.
Yeah.
Over. All right. That's the slate today. Just 4 games. Went through each one of them. Oh, my bad. Put that down. All right, before we move on to the top looks, got to talk about themoneyballer.com, the website we use today. Obviously, if you watched the whole show, we also talked about WNBA.
Yep.
So you saw the stats and trends there. MLB, the rating system is here as well on that part. I didn't really talk about the WNBA model, but if you have baller access, you'll see that on the top part of the page for the WNBA page, and then NFL on its way. We have the beta page already up. We're working on acquiring more stats for that. So hopefully we get that in there soon. But stats, trends, insights, we even have our baller systems, our models, our rating systems, all that stuff available for you guys too. One thing to mention, and I just want to make sure it's clear that we're not a pick site. We're not selling picks. We're selling in. This is like information, insights, things to help us make better betting decisions. And I know, if you use the site, guys like Ski, Chris, other handicappers that are out there, pro handicappers that use the site for quick information. And you could use it on your phone, on the web, or on desktop.
Yep.
Anywhere you're at, you could check your insights. So when I go to Vegas next week, I'll be capping on my phone at the pool. I remember when I was there last time, you and Austin was doing shows, and I would pop in and I'd be handicapping during while I was at the pool. But yeah, so check out themoneyballer.com. The Discord is free too. So themoneyballer.com/Discord, or you can go to the site and there's a link on the bottom that says Discord. Free there, free to join in the Discord there. What else is there about the site? There's just so much going on with the site, and we're just trying to make it better. And the more people we have subscribed to the site, the better it will become, because we get our feedback from everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So we can make the site better, so we could put everything that you guys want to see on there. And then also we get the revenue to come in, and we can acquire better data. We want to bring in player props. We can do all these other pieces, but right now we're just still a baby company. We've only been up for like 4 months now, 4 to 5 months. So for what we've accomplished so far, I'm really proud of the website, and everybody's been giving us great feedback. So make sure you guys check that out. And then let's move over to the top looks. Let's start with you, Munaf. What are your top looks for this one?
Yeah, I think the one that made the most sense to me as we handicapped it here, RC, was the over in that Red Sox and the Orioles game with Nick Pivetta and Zach Eflin.
Mm-hmm.
Two of the more profitable teams, if not most profitable teams, to the over since the All-Star break. And the Red Sox have been better on the road this season than they've been at Fenway Park. So I think they can continue, raking here. Baltimore's offense, this seems like it's starting to pick up a little bit here as well. Really couldn't back either one of these pitchers, but also, I want to full fade them, and also the bullpens as well, right? You talked about the Red Sox bullpen. So over 8.5 would be my top look. I'm leaning towards the under first 5 in that Giants and the Braves game, as well as I know it's about to kick off in 30 minutes. But at least the top look would be that over 8.5 Red Sox Orioles.
Like it. I like it. All right, so going over those plays again for baseball. Braves, Giants. That was first 5 under, right? That's what we talked about.
First 5 under, yeah.
Yeah, first 5 under for the Braves, Giants. Red Sox, Orioles, full game over. I mean, slight lean to Nationals team total under 2.5, but I'm definitely not going to take it. But that's kind of what I saw from that game. And then Twins, Rangers over on that one. Going back to the WNBA, we talked about the Mystics, full game first half. We talked about the Sky, and then the Sparks plus the points there. It seems like all dogs today in the WNBA. For baseball, Like I said, I took the Mariners first 5. I actually took the full game too, so hopefully they win full game. We'll see what happens. And then I haven't taken anything in this later slate, but I think I'm with you with that Red Sox Orioles. I mean, that 18 it was 18-3 to the over versus right-handed pitchers last 30 days. Like, I gotta just ride with that trend right there. So I think from a baseball perspective, I may add that to my card. All right. With that said, guys, that's the end of the show. If you like the show, make sure you guys hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future shows. Gonna be back tomorrow. Munaf, I don't know if you'll be available tomorrow, but obviously you always have your spot here. I'm also gonna do weekends. I'm about to start doing Saturday and Sundays at 8 a.m. For moving forward. So I'm just really trying to grow the show, and it's going to take not only me and guys like Munaf and Chris to pop in the show, but everyone that's watching. I need you guys' help to help me push this out. That means, like I said, hitting that like button, sharing the show, even just dropping a small comment right after, whether it's your top plays, thoughts on the games, what you would like to see on Let's Cap, or who you want to see on Let's Cap. All that stuff. Just put that in the comments after the show. And as always, I have to end with this. Remember, whether you fade or follow, it is on you to make that call. Good luck with all your action. Till next time, peace.